All right, what's going on, gents? As you can see in front of us, we're going to be going over the Automatic Rifleman role today, and we're going to give us some considerations with that. We're going to talk about what we think works, what doesn't work, and maybe some improvements you can do to your gear. I think as you'll find as we get further into this video, kind of what we have going for us as the Marine Corps is kind of what we have. There's not really a lot of leeway with being able to carry this many mags, and we'll just get into it. So the very first thing, I'm going to read it verbatim. That way there's no misinformation out there, disinformation, whichever one it is. All right, so according to the TNR NAVMAC 3500 Delta, point 4, Appendix Echo TAC 3, MOS 0311 will carry either M16 Alpha 4, M4, M27, or IAR with 7 or 22 mags for infantry automatic rifles. Combat assault sling, PEC 15, it goes on to talk about the bayonet. But it specifically mentions 22 mags, according to the TNR manual. Now, is this something that between our experience we've seen on a daily basis or operational basis? I'd say absolutely not. I don't know.
I mean, you might be an AR or you've obviously seen it. I don't see that many guys carrying all the mags that are technically required on them, which we'll get into reasons why and why not. That probably is the case, but your role is to put rounds down range, and unfortunately we lost the SAW, which those old SAW gunners out there, I mean, are probably scratching their heads at like, why, how are they doing that? How are they the automatic riflemen with basically the same setup as the rest of the team? I mean, the grenadier and the rifleman and the team leader, squad leader all have 30-round PMags.
Yep.
How is an automatic rifleman now just like, you're it, and then you're carrying more mags? It's like, where the hell are you carrying all these mags?
Yeah, so kind of to backpedal a little bit, the role of the automatic rifleman for you guys that are maybe just entering the Marine Corps and entering the infantry or maybe civilian, you're supposed to be able to be a team, a fire team's internal base of fire. So in order to put the enemy in a combined arms dilemma, which essentially means if they poke their head up, they're getting hit by automatic fire. That automatic fire is supposed to be able to fix the enemy in order for the grenadier to get rounds on target, because the enemy could potentially be suppressed. They won't be able to move in that position. That's why the automatic rifleman should be able to fix them, and then they're destroyed by that IDF or that team's internal IDF, the grenadier, with that HE asset. So that's kind of the reason, is you're the internal base of fire. You're supposed to be able to suppress and fix the enemy to allow the grenadier to either get HE on them or just to allow another team to maneuver. So that's the overall idea. Is it 100? Is it achievable with a automatic rifle that's not belt fed? I think so. Is it easier with a non-belt fed weapon? I don't think so. But again, that's just our opinion. We are by no means experts. We are not anywhere near the knowledge base of like a gunner or someone like that.
Right.
But yeah, that's just what we think on the ground level from operating with these dudes on a daily basis. And again, just for like sanity check us, neither of us have served an automatic rifleman billet. I've always been a team leader. He's always been like my A/, but none of us have ever been in an automatic rifleman billet specifically. So if we say something that's maybe not actually what it's supposed to be, please let us know. But I think we've done enough reading. We've obviously worked with them enough to where we would be able to figure it out. And again, it's not that hard. The TNR manual lays everything out pretty easily. So what we're basically going to go over is how you can carry 22 magazines with only issued stuff, kind of like our team leader video. But instead of showing you our personal kit, it's just going to be other considerations that you could potentially do to do something different. So as you can see here, the mag pouch or the canteen pouches with like a 60 rounder in them, and another canteen pouch with 5 PMags in it. So we're going to break down each piece of kit a little bit and just show you guys some considerations that go along with those. All right, so to start off, the base of this build, we're going off the issue chest rig. This is the exact same one that the Army uses. It's a pretty solid chest rig. I think it's the TAPS system.
Yep.
Probably the key difference between this, the issued one, and like aftermarket ones is it has male side clips, while the commercial ones typically have females. But this, in our opinion, is going to be your best bet to carry 22 mags. So kind of our intent with this is we built this out to carry at least 2/3 of your 22 and have the other magazines in your assault pack, because the weight on this thing is incredibly heavy. Like
It's
probably at least 20 pounds.
Yeah.
I'd say it's at least 20 pounds, with especially with these are all loaded with the grenade. Tourniquet obviously not adding so much weight, but like this is completely loaded out. It's pretty heavy. So we'll just take, I mean, what we did is the two radio pouches on either side obviously hold 2. Pretty easy there. The regular issue, the normal pouches will still hold 2. It's just kind of a tight fit. Obviously, once you start working your way down, it is a little easier to take these out. And this was 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So the rest of our mags are going to be in our assault pack. We'll get to that shortly. But yeah, we're just going to keep taking these out. Again, kind of a tight fit. This chest rig is brand new, so probably loading it out, putting pencils in the pouch, and soaking it would definitely help get these mags out a little bit easier.
That's a whole lot of ammo.
Yeah, so that's all the mags out. The reason why we're still rocking a grenade and a tourniquet is, again, worst case scenario, we're doing a movement to contact with main pack on. We need to be able to self-medicate and fight with grenades. So we got one grenade on here and one tourniquet, suggesting that the other two, or the pair to match, is on the main pack with our belt. So that's how we're kind of laying this out. Anyway, the issue chest rig, again, not bad. There are upgrade kits out there. I don't know what companies sell those. Is it the Spiritus sell one?
Well, Spiritus has the fucking LB shit.
Yeah.
LBE shit.
And we'll get into that later. But again, you can carry a tourniquet, grenade, I think pretty comfortably, trying to leave the front as thin as possible, because the automatic rifleman, you're probably going to be in the prone or in a supported position most of the time when you're shooting.
And the idea why we're showing this with a chest rig, and like you've seen in the fleet or whatever, I mean, guys are running the triples, and yeah, you got 6 on the front. This was giving us the option of, I can reload way more mags before I have to enter my backpack. I mean, that's why we were talking about like the 2/3 idea, because this just gives us a lot more options. I mean, you're gonna look ridiculous with a shit ton of mags on your front, but again, if you gotta keep that fucking gun up, because it's 30 rounds at a time. I mean, once you get through 6, and then it's like, what? Then you got to switch your backpack over.
Yeah.
And maneuver still going. It's like, what's going on here? Like, so I'm just saying, like, this is kind of where we're finding the best.
And
option.
it used to be where before the Marine Corps kind of changed their style of the way they did things with the team layout, the rifleman used to be an assistant automatic rifleman, and what his job would be to carry extra ammo and to help link rounds. That way, it could keep the saw in the fight longer. He probably even carried the spare barrel. That's another huge consideration with the M27, is you don't have a spare barrel. So yeah, you got to stay in the fight theoretically just as long as the saw used to be able to. It's, again, weird considerations and balancing things out, but this is what we're doing. This is what we're working with. It's also very, I think, applicable to civilians. Civilians are probably going to be in the same boat, and they can definitely take away a lot of what we're doing with this, because we're using an automatic weapon, but it's still an AR style weapon.
Right. I mean, unless you guys got the money for the fight light or the actual saw, and you've seen videos, I think, like Military Arms Channel and the Grand Thumb were showing like pulling that trigger on the saw single fire, because they do sell the saw semi-auto only, and that's, I mean,
but still, if you want to be able to keep your gun in the fight, this is roughly about how many mags you're going to need to carry before you want to lull. The lull will also probably benefit you just so that barrel can cool down. But again, there are kit setups out there that we've seen where dudes are just wearing mags on the front. So they're wearing like a plate carrier. They got the issued mag pouches, and then they have like a canteen pouch on either side. But again, you're an infantryman. You still need to be able to fight with grenades and you do your self-aid. And that, at the bare minimum, that's a tourniquet. So still considerations that we wanted to abide by with that. Now we're going to get into the assault pack, which is where the rest of your mags are going to go. I think it's like 4 or 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 6 mags in the assault pack. We'll show you guys how we set it up. The thing is, though, it's the same amount of ammo. That's the reason why.
Yeah,
and I mean, we can. So again, we can explain it to you guys. The reason why it's 22 is that's because how many mags or how many rounds the automatic rifleman used to carry with the saw. That's where that number 22 came from. And again, it just translates to a lot of extra weight just because of the mags themselves. But what we got here are the extra mags. And the way we kind of looked at it is if you can carry 2/3 on the front without needing to resupply, that's fine. That's kind of what you want. Standard issue mag pouches. So the idea behind this is you can flip your assault pack off, take these out, put them in your chest rig, and then just keep going from there. And then we just decided to put them on the top because, you know,
easier access.
Yeah, easier access. And again, this is 22 mags. It's a lot, but that's the best way we thought that you could carry it. It makes sense to us with the little bit of experience that we've had, and yeah, I think that works just fine. So again, not the most ideal scenario. I'd rather just have linked 5.56 in my bag, be able to pull it out, have my assistant automatic rifleman just carry extra ammo, obviously. But yeah, that's what we're working with. Now we're going to get into some considerations that might help you perform this role a little bit better. And again, it's not necessarily a like personal changes to it, but it's just ideas that could potentially help you out. So we'll get into it now. All right, so just a consideration idea you guys might have from what I've seen. Another way to carry an extra 5 PMags is a canteen pouch. So let's say you go out and buy an extra canteen pouch, or you just have an extra one because you tactically acquired one. These will carry 5 extra PMags. And what you could do there is just run one on the cummerbund. Big consideration, though, is just being able to re-index these. So you just might want to make sure that if you take these out, you plan on using them or putting them somewhere else. Because putting them back in, obviously, not the easiest thing in the world. And then you do have a pretty solid level of retention with this clip. So you can't just clip it back, and then you're good to go. Yeah, it's not bad.
They do fit 5.
They do fit 5.
Fit 5.
I would just probably, if it's a choice between carrying water and more mags, that's definitely something you need to make intentionally. Do not overlook that decision, because water could potentially be more important than mags depending on what situation you're in. So, it's just idea how it stores up. It's pretty nice. So another consideration, this would be like if you wanted to invest a little bit into it. People are going to have mixed feelings about this one, but it's a drum mag. It's the like Magpul D60 drum mag. There's a few things about this. So one, loading this thing is, it takes a long time, especially if it's brand new. The spring's brand new. It's also more likely to jam up than a regular PMag. And relative to the amount of firepower it gives you, it takes up a lot of space. So like one of these that only holds 60 rounds can fit in this canteen pouch.
And this is 60 rounds.
And that's 60 rounds. And then you have 5 mags in this one. So again, just a consideration. Maybe the best way it works is you step out with a drum mag, and that's the one in the gun. Yeah, that's the one that you have. Gives you just a little bit more firepower on the front if you're expecting to take contact. Just a consideration, though. Would I probably go with one of these? Probably not. Especially on a long duration mission, like up to 5-10 days. I'm probably not going to want to carry this to begin with, because the M27 with suppressor and SCO and bipod is obviously, yeah. So just a consideration there. For you civilians, maybe you don't have to move as far. You're not thinking about it. Maybe it's just like your home defense rifle. Want to throw
yeah.
yeah.
Sure. The hunter one, or whatever.
Another idea. So another consideration, we spent the money for you guys. In case you were wondering, you do have like a straight or 60 round straight. Kind of the same thought with this. They're extremely hard to load, and another thing is just storage. I couldn't find like a really good place to put this thing. Because they're not going to fit in the canteen pouches, the issued ones. They're not going to fit really anywhere else. So maybe, again, it's like this is the one you step off with, but it just adds a lot of weight to the gun. And it's not going to be carried like on your shoulders or your hips like your other equipment is. It's just going to be carried like, in your rifle. So another consideration, probably one I would not go for. And just reloading these, because that's another thing. Not everything in the infantry is, for the most, probably 90% of the time, it's not shooting people or
fucking shooting.
Yeah, it's not actually doing the thing. It's you're waiting for the actual thing to happen, and then breaking down all your gear because the actual thing did not happen. So, Unloading magazines, another consideration, and unloading this and just loading it is extremely painful. And I don't even know if this spring is gonna like be okay after even sitting here loaded. So, yeah, another idea. We probably wouldn't go with it, but it's there. All right, so this build that we have right here is absolutely not an M27. It's not an HK416. This is not a SCO. This is just something that we have that resembles the build that we might use at work. So, again, it's something that's supposed to resemble what we use at work because maybe we're motivated, probably too motivated, and we like to do things in our off time. So, obviously. But yeah, so consideration with this, it's about the same length. It's just a really heavy build, and I think the biggest thing with working with a really heavy build is having a heavy duty sling. So this is an old saw sling that I got from my last unit, and I really like it. It's a heavily padded sling. It is a little heavy, it is a little chunky, but I like it. It definitely helps spread that the loadout from carrying a very heavy build. Obviously, you get used to it though. Like carrying the M27 is not that bad after you've carried it for a while. It's just not ideal when you pick up someone else's M4 and you're like, man, I could have that.
Yeah, it's a little lighter, I think.
Yep.
But they make, I think, is it Faro or I don't know. There's a bunch of companies. I think TRXR. There's a bunch of companies that make the padded sling as well. Even if you're just running it for your M4 or whatever the hell you're running it for, I mean, it is a little more comfortable on the shoulder or the neck, depending on where it's laying.
Yeah, but that's really it. Again, the bipod, something a lot of these M27s might have when you're an automatic rifleman. A lot of times you need the bipod in order to go fully automatic. So that's kind of how you tell who the automatic rifleman is, from what I've seen, is the dude who has a bipod on his M27. So we threw one on there. Something I like to do with my bipod at work is just throw like double boot bands on there. It allows me to be able to pull out both legs with just by pulling one. And then if I push one up, the other one will go with it for the most part. I can just push it on the ground. But yeah, just a few considerations of that. It is a pretty heavy build. This is lighter than the M27. And then you're also working with a suppressor on the end too. So, all right, so probably the last consideration, which might end up being important, is because you want to be able to retain all of these magazines, because if you get resupplied, you're not going to get resupplied loaded magazines 99% of the time. You're going to get resupplied bandoliers. So if you manage to not retain any of your magazines, you're now not really the automatic rifleman anymore. So what I would suggest is having 2 dump pouches. You can do this. This is the T-Rex Arms one. It's like a copy of, I think, a Cry one. Having a dump pouch on the front, and then also having it like your issued dump pouch on your belt, or just looped around your belt. I think that's a great idea, because you got to be able to put all of these somewhere.
I mean, you can re-index them too. I mean, it just depends on what the hell the situation is. It's just like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of polymer to do.
There's a lot going on. I think that's why you really can't tell who the automatic rifleman is when you're actually operating. If you're a unit that actually holds your dude up to this standard, I think that's great. We should be doing that. And it's also kind of like eye-opening to most dudes, is that this is what dudes are running as the automatic rifleman. This dude's carrying a lot of weight, a lot of firepower, and then again, it's like an argument: is the M27 really capable of putting all that out as well as the SAW used to be able to? I get no idea. It's not really my decision to make. That was probably just something due to the military-industrial complex.
Yeah. I don't know what that call was.
All right, we'll get into how all this looks on the body, and we'll be done from there. All right, and I think another key takeaway from this too is, as a civilian, where you might not have access to like a belt-fed weapon, this is kind of the thing. You know, it's really your main option. You're rolling with a lot of firepower here, and you might not have to carry 22, but at least carrying like a chest rig that can hold them all.
You can fill it out comfortably.
Yeah, you can. The issued chest rig or the TAPS chest rig is a 100% a good option for that. So for you civilians out there that are looking to maybe make like your own kit for Milsim or the real thing, like not a bad idea. So probably drum mag in the gun, have a really nice bipod to shoot off of. Mag pull one's okay, but I definitely like the Harris bipod better. And then yeah, run your kit like this if you have specified billet, so it's not a bad idea. All right, so I think the biggest takeaways from us kind of prac gapping with the Automatic Rifleman Loadout was it's a lot of mags, obviously. Yep. I think we kind of established that. But for us, the best way to carry it is definitely with the chest rig and then plussed up with your assault pack. Obviously, some of you guys might experiment with the canteen pouches, maybe extra canteen pouches. That's absolutely fine. The assault pack, though, also acts as just another place to put all the extra mags once you've emptied them.
Right.
So if you're in a position for a long period of time, maybe you have the opportunity to pick all those mags up, throw them in there. If you don't, you might just have to throw them in a dump pouch.
Yeah.
Or re-index them. So
yeah, I don't know. You find time, maybe fires are cut or something, or whatever the hell, retrace, and you can fucking start stowing some mags or something.
Yeah, and by all means, like I said, we have not been in an automatic rifleman billet specifically. That's why we're a little bit hesitant to make this video. But if you're actively serving an automatic rifleman billet, or you have a lot of experience in that, please hit us up, let us know. Maybe we can have you on the channel, talk to you a little bit about it. Some specific things that maybe you've done differently, and we'll go from there. But we hope you guys got a lot out of this. Maybe if, again, you're a new boot hitting the fleet and you know that your billet's going to be automatic rifleman for some reason, you can kind of use this to have a step above the other guys. Yeah, hope you guys like this video. Please hit us up if you guys have any other cool ideas. Appreciate it.